Welcome to Kindness in Motion, where courage, curiosity and connection lead the way. I'm Suzy, and together with Parry, we don't tiptoe around the truth, we dance with it. Settle in and enjoy yourself. Hi, this is Suzy.
And I'm Parry.
And we are the Kindness in Motion podcast. And today, due to delightful distractions,
I think you started out with the best of intentions, but then life happened and you've been up to far more interesting things than editing a podcast.
Well, as some of you may already know, life has certainly happened for me in the previous week. I went to Sweden.
Well done.
I know, I deserve a medal, seriously. It was quite the journey, but the journey just led me into a whole new world. Don't start singing, Parry.
No, I'm not going to.
It's so
I'm not
tempting.
going to. I'm going to zip my mouth. There will be no Disney songs on this podcast.
So, as you all know, I started the MA in Creative Practice. It started in January, and in February, I went to Sweden for the bootcamp.
Which was essentially a cult, from what Suzy tells me.
Yes, I have come back a changed person.
Okay, say more about that. You can't just leave it there.
I know, it feels really weird because you know how cults are, you can't tell anyone.
I don't from personal experience.
Oh, okay. From what I've watched and learned.
From the true crime documentaries.
Yeah. It's all a case of you must internalize everything. Do not tell them the secrets. This is interesting, actually. The definition of what a cult is and what is actually just, I don't want to say enlightenment because that's yet another phrase.
Yeah.
That says it's cultish.
What is the difference between something that's a cult and something that's just a genuinely nice social phenomenon?
Well, it wasn't even just a social phenomenon. I can't say that word, Parry.
I struggle to say it.
Yeah. I went to a movie once that was called Phenomenon.
Phenomenon?
Well, no, it's Phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
It was an education on your own possibilities and allowing yourself to be open to possibilities you never would have imagined. I was very fortunate because we had snow, which is always gorgeous. It may have been -4 in Sweden. During the daytime, you have this stunning scenery. You have this crystal snow white. The view was absolutely astounding. To be able to learn so much more about myself and what I'm trying to do was priceless. It really was.
So why don't you paint the picture for us of what this place actually was? When you talk about the view, what did you see?
Oh,
for people that don't know, this is their first time.
I will recall my mind's eye, which I don't have. But if I were to describe it in words, it was like we had this massive white desert surrounded by, I assume they're pine trees. Alpine trees, that's it. There were some that had shed their leaves for the autumn.
Right.
Then you had the evergreens. This lake was massive. They have people who can canoe in it when it's the summer.
Yeah.
So I'd assume that it's probably got quite a bit of scope. It was a big, massive view with really lumpy bottom.
Right, okay.
The lake was frozen and it was covered with a thick layer of snow. The very first night I was playing mischief with one of my roommates. She followed me.
And the thing is, none of our listeners are surprised by that.
No, not probably, likely, maybe.
Suzy causing mischief?
I never cause mischief, honestly, Parry. So at night, all we saw was this massive white. It literally glowed.
Wow.
Even though it was jet black night, we had not that many lights. There was a string lights and then the lights from the lodge where we were staying.
Oh, nice.
And the big, massive lecture type area, which was also where we had multiple vegetarian meals.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. They were, to be fair, were great. By the second day, you didn't care what you were eating. You just needed food. It was all vegetarian, but they were very good with my gluten-free needs.
That's good. Okay. So moving on.
Obviously, first night, get your room sorted because it's proper youth hostel. I was on the top bunk.
Okay.
I had started on a lower bunk and it felt like a coffin. So no, couldn't do it.
You took the top one?
I took the top one and oh boy, that was fun throughout the entire week. You should see my legs, Parry.
Did you fall out?
No, I didn't, even though there were no sort of like guardrails, because we're grown up. I think these beds were designed for teenagers, not old women. And so in the middle of the night, if I needed the toilet, I had to try and get down this weird ladder, and I didn't want to wake anybody up.
Like trying to do an obstacle course, Ninja Silent.
Ninja Silence. I did consider just jumping from the bunk and decided that would be a very bad idea.
Would be bad.
So comfort-wise, it was a bit like being in an army camp.
Okay.
Every day we had a different subject to explore. I won't be able to tell you all of the subjects because I've forgotten most of them.
I thought there was going to be some kind of mysterious NDA or sworn to secrecy about it.
I've imagined there is a mysterious NDA, and maybe they've done it without us realising.
Maybe they just use memory wipe magic instead.
It is a form of hypnotism. It's a way of persuading your brain to open itself up, look at the world in a very different way, but not in a big, massive, huge world evolution, but your own personal evolution.
Okay. It sounds like the person that came back is quite different from the person that set off.
Yeah, it was a good thing. I think it was the third day, and Tom, one of our lecturers, said, right, what is nice versus kind?
Big question, kindness and motion, people. Get your thinking caps on.
It was like, that's me. Nice versus kind. This is what we talk about. It's fundamental to the whole of kindness in motion. And I thought, let's take a few minutes just to talk about nice versus kind. So to you, Parry, what does nice appear to be like?
Nice, for me, seems to be a more external reaction. Rather, like kindness, that impulse to be kind comes internally, whereas nice is about appeasing external social forces.
So it's that societal expectation that you have to be nice. I suppose an example of nice is going, I really love your trainers, Parry.
Okay. And so Susie's given me like a look at the moment that looks like someone might be holding a gun to her head in a different reality, telling her to just compliment me. Yeah, there's desperation behind the eyes and a really forced smile.
The way you're describing it is perfect, because if I was kind, I would say, in this kind of weather, maybe you should consider shoes, but that is a kindness. It's not saying it in cruelty.
Right.
It's asking you to consider a potentially better option. Obviously, you are still left with your choice. You don't have to follow my kindness direction.
Or it's just being like, hey, respect my choice of shoes, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go, that's absolutely fine. But being nice, I had to say I liked your trainers.
And there is room for that in society. Like,
there has to be.
To reach out and make those attempts for connection and that social kind of smoothing.
Yeah.
That's important.
It is the beginning of kindness. I think that's something we didn't really look into, but we start with the niceties. And I think when we feel more comfortable, which is when friendships tend to build up, back to the subject in hand. So it's about being genuine.
Yeah.
Whereas nice can be a bit disingenuous.
Yeah, I think nice is done for effect, right? Nice is done for social harmony.
And not to offend.
Yeah, and to make other people feel a certain way or feel affection towards you or something like that. Whereas kindness, I feel like that is very much a force. It's a motivating force rather than simply social
niceties, which
lubrication.
as neurospicy people, we are not great fans. I know I'm not a great fan of niceties, otherwise known as small talk.
I'm terrible at small talk.
Exactly.
I'm awful at it.
Most of the nice things happen in those small talk moments. I'm just, what are they saying? The actual start of the course was quite challenging.
Right, okay.
To me, it was just like, I am open to learn anything because it was so long since I'd been in education.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. And when they started talking, I really started to understand where it was going. Unfortunately, there were some that were slightly resistant to change.
I think sometimes resistance is just part of the process.
Absolutely.
I think some resistance to change can be healthy to an extent. That assessment period and learning to trust the process.
Yes, and this is one thing that kept being said. Trust the process. Understandably, some people have very different brains.
Yep.
And they see what they were saying differently.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, one of us did have a bit of a battle with the lecturer over this changing of the mind. And it got quite fractious.
By the sounds of things, it's asking you to change or approach the work and the way you perceive in quite groundbreaking new ways, which on some level means you're going to change who you are. If you've been stuck in the same patterns for, like you said, 40 years.
Yep, 40 years at least.
To move out of those is going to expand your sense of your identity.
Absolutely, and that is a brilliant sort of way of describing it. But I could also understand that fear that was causing this conflict between the lecturer and the student. But I don't manage well with conflict. It makes me incredibly anxious, and thankfully the class ended. There was a few of us who were chatting and we were worried that we might lose the student that had been challenging it. She's absolutely amazing. And she had to have time to process for herself.
Of course.
And when you've got massive lake, yeah, and obviously the woods and the walking.
You're just out in nature.
Out in nature. There was no other distractions. We brought all our electrical devices, and yet I never used it once. Through the entire week, amazingly, the whole group, there were 20 of us students.
Yep.
And we had one male student, so we had 19 female students.
Okay.
Which would have been my worst nightmare when I was a kid because of what happened in that period. I've built that foundation, that need to create kindness wherever I could as a way of confronting those bullies without confronting them. Because I've already said, I don't like conflict.
Yeah.
So I was immediately on edge, which when you're tired can trigger odd reactions, especially when I think my ADHD brain was already kind of, I'd done Heathrow Airport, I'd done a small plane, I then did the lovely Gothenburg Airport and waited for a bus with lots of other people, but didn't dare go and talk to the people.
And you're starting something new as well, which means there's bound to be anxiety and excitement there.
Yeah, 100%. They were so generous.
Yeah.
And they were kind. I was seriously Mrs. Who is this right now? Part of me was just like, nobody knows me. Let's do this. And so I did. And they loved it. And I was like, okay. As we were opening up and learning things like nice versus kind, which for me was like the drop the mic moment, I'm a fully 100 occult member. We dealt with some quite interesting and definitely deep subjects that can cause there to be that tension. So the more tension there was, the more 15-year-old me, now that's a bit of a teaser, became more apparent.
Okay.
And it was also the trigger for me to be changing that endeavour.
Which was originally Kindness in Motion?
Yep, the Kindness in Motion podcast. That was my original endeavour. After one of the times where we had to reword a simple sentence. So take, for example, I'm not a very good actor.
Right, okay.
You need to change that into a positive statement. So you say that.
So my belief is that I'm not a very good actor. To change that statement would be to say I am a good actor.
You would think that's quite innocent and it's not going to mess. I was going to say a swear word right then.
But to hear yourself say those words out loud when the narrative and the feelings inside tell you the complete opposite, that act of rebellion and resistance, to hear those words come out of your mouth, especially if you do it with conviction, it can really shake a lot of stuff up.
Okay, say it again.
What? I am a good actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you believing it, or are you starting to feel a slight change?
So for me, I'm not that attached to being a good or bad actor anymore.
Okay.
Committing when I'm saying it.
Okay, I think this is a really good exercise.
Okay.
You can challenge something about yourself. I'm not going to tell you what to challenge, so maybe say something that you feel you're not good at.
So for me at the moment, I don't feel like I'm very imaginative.
Okay, and now change that.
But so I can say I am imaginative.
Yeah.
And because I'm a bit more attached to that outcome, I can feel something inside start to wake up and say, yes, you are.
Everyone, if you want to, you don't have to, but do give that a try. For me, let me use something else. I am too annoying for people. I'm going to change it. I am funny to people. Yay!
Yeah, I'm sat here nodding. Suzy is hilarious to be around.
When I'm ADHD especially. Bringing it round to how it changed my endeavour, it was, I said, I'm not a good writer. They made me change that to, I am a writer. And I must admit, because they had us thinking about this just internally, and then they obviously asked for examples. And so my hand shot up. I nearly dislocated my shoulder. I declared to the whole room, and it felt like to the whole world, I am a writer. Now, I can write.
Yeah.
And if it's just a letter on a page, but it goes deeper than that.
To identify is I am doing writing is a declaration of intent. It's a declaration of identity, which is a massive shift.
Yeah, as joyful as that initial moment was, what I didn't expect was it to trigger my anxiety, my excitement, my frustration. All of these feelings were just bombarding me. So I did seem to become almost someone else. I didn't care. I was in for the ride. We had the evening. We finished classes. Do I spoil it, or should I tell the whole story?
Don't know.
I don't know.
You could put an ad in here and make people wait.
Yeah, we could, couldn't we?
From one of our sponsors.
And still not tell you what it was. I'm so evil. But no, I am going to keep that a little to myself for now. It's a big thing that did happen, the experience of the next day. is that I realised that my endeavour was still going to be about kindness, but it was going to be a one-woman show. I had to make a declaration of what this endeavour would be, what was the time frame, all of this. So I just picked up one thing and went, okay, I am going to write a one-woman show for it to be performed, and it will be performed, this is the doozy, at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2027.
So just say that again as the goal.
To perform my own one-woman show in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2027.
It's on the podcast now. It's official. By then, it'll have a life of its own, right? Because you would have taken it to other places.
I am certainly considering taking it to maybe smaller festivals just to try it out.
It's a possibility.
My possibilities opened up not just for doing the scary thing of doing this one-woman show.
Yeah.
For the podcast, for Kindness in Motion itself, even though it's going to be it's going to be an autobiographical, or is it biographical?
Autobiographical, because you're writing it.
Yes, I'm writing it, of my experience as a late diagnosed neurodiverse person and the impact from not being diagnosed as a child up to this very merry and very happy point and if I was to say anything, it will be a show of hope.
Yeah.
Proof that kindness matters. And that is exciting in the story where there is a lot of, I would say, trauma. I'm going to be open and honest about it. It's a life story, and I don't think any life has not experienced trauma of some part. So I am hoping that if it is good enough for people to be able to take something from and to either learn something new or actually just feel they're not alone.
I think it's beautiful and really brave for you to state that intent from the get-go, that you want that to be something that people can connect to. And whilst it will contain some elements of trauma, for that actually to be catalyzed into something that can bring people together and bring connection.
Yeah, it is clear 100% I'm not a selfish bitch. Seriously.
Yeah, and you're the person that's been doing exciting things with life.
Yeah, and I'm like,
no, you want to share.
I want to share. I'm a very sharing and caring.
Yeah. No worries.
It's so, and yes, insert swear word here. It's weird, but it's wonderful.
Right, okay.
Inside, it is making the nervous system soldiers march in a much better tune.
What are we talking about now?
I do have to give a massive call out to Make Happen. The best thing about Make Happen and how I got there was that I was dealing with a lot of mental stuff at the time, and I was doom scrolling. I was on Facebook and saw this thing, do a quiz. And I was like, that'll be fun.
Your spirit animal is a cat.
Please give us your email address. This one was different because I did the questions. I was like, la, 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 just answering without thinking. And up pops this message saying, I think you are suitable for this course.
Ah.
And I was like, ooh, I won.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, let's see what the next step is. I pressed the click here button and they said, please write a proposal for your
endeavor.
I think they called it something else, or else I would have been very confused. Okay. I think they dumbed it down for me. It was very important that you just wrote it. You didn't think about it. You didn't go to your trusty AIs and ask them to answer this deep, important question. And I didn't. I used pen and paper first, wrote it all down, just went, oh yeah, that'll do, and typed it in. It was good to actually write about what I wanted to achieve with kindness in motion. So it was a good construct of purpose.
I think since you started using kind of resources from the course in conjunction with kindness in motion, Kim has become a lot more streamlined and focused.
Definitely. The best thing about it, I sent the proposal, but one of the reasons the quiz did catch my eye said make dash happen institute, and I automatically filled it with make shit happen, and I thought, yes, that's what I want to do. I want to make shit happen. Apparently it's just make happen. Yeah. They have been so supportive.
Yeah.
Fantastic lecturers who are so passionate about it's a product. They have worked, I think, nearly 10 years on developing and building the Make Happen Institute. I won't go into the full history. The way they see people, it's not academic.
Yep.
It's creative.
They're there to facilitate your growth as a creative and unlock that and help move that along in the actual process.
Yeah,
right?
The plan is that the work you do on your MA is going to solidify a potential way of earning income.
Brilliant.
You have to call out Tom and Ollie, who are our lecturers, who managed to bear the frustrations, the angst, the silly humour that,
I'm sure that doing this work and facilitating that creative and artistic kind of interrogation of who you are as a creative, right? People come with all kinds of defense mechanisms and all kinds of ways to resist that change.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they are more than used to seeing the whole spread of behaviours.
Yeah, I don't think I could do their job.
No?
Okay, that actually is probably a brilliant time, unless you have any more questions.
No,
Are you sure?
Unless the stuff that you'd like me to ask.
No, this is a conversation. It's not an interrogation.
I know that I can ask you questions at any time to hear about this story. I'm trying to think about what our listeners might want to know. But they can also ask questions.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to send some support to Suzy whilst she is doing her one-woman show creation process, any messages of motivation or just general cheerleading, then please do send something through the Kindness in Motion email. She's here looking very excited, so I'm sure that will make a massive difference to her as well.
It would make a huge difference because this one-woman show, it isn't just about me. It's about all the people who believe there is a better way to treat each other, that there is this kind way. And it doesn't mean weakness. Far from it. When you look at nice versus kind, nice is the weaker of the two. Mm-hmm. So I will leave you with that thought, and we'd love your feedback on what you feel about nice versus kind. And we'll try and respond. It would be a pleasure to hear from you. Even if you say our podcast is rubbish, we'll come back and say thank you for the feedback.
Then you'll know that's Suzy replying to you if you get that.
What would you do if that happened to you?
What, if I got negative reviews on the podcast?
Yeah.
I'd be too busy crying.
I'd be, okay, I'm going to take on board what you've said. If you do have good feedback, whether it is negative or positive, I am more than willing to communicate with you, because you can't do this as an individual. It is something that is done with a community.
This is a learning process for everyone involved, right? So if people do have tips or things that they'd like to see in there, or just suggestions, we're open.
We're open for business. Also, if you have any suggestions for a podcast you'd like to hear, we'd love to have you make that known. We're open to trying and talking about different things as well.
Yeah, we're flying by the seat of our pants, to be honest. So, like, any content ideas, we would snap up.
In fact, that does bring us back to the Kirsty podcast, which...
Katie.
I've done it again, haven't I?
Yeah.
I am so bad with names. It's a thing.
So we were really lucky to have a meeting with a lady named Katie. Her endeavor, her kind of creative focus has been all about listening spaces. And so we had a great conversation about what it means to actually listen, what that has looked like in different cultures as well.
So you listen rather than speak, giving them the space to communicate. I just have to do the job of editing because distract.
Which I'm sure everyone will forgive you for.
Oh, absolutely, because they love me. No, they don't. Well, if you do, just tell me. I'll love it. Thank you all for taking this time out with us today. And I would just like to say, keep safe, keep happy, but most of all, be kind to yourself and to each other.
And thank you for listening.
If this lifted you even a little, hit follow, share it with someone who could use a spark of kindness, and come with us as this movement grows. You're part of this now, and we're really glad you're here.